everyone. Luca Majno here with Frank Gregory Ford. This is Global News Update on TLBTV, where we give you complete backstage and up-to-date info on the developments occurring in our world today. And without further ado, we won't waste any more time than we have to.
Okay, all righty. So what we have here, from what I'm seeing, and by the way, can I get an introduction like Wolf Blitzer gets on CNN?
Uh-oh.
You know, I mean, there's not much difference between the music and the music and news that we bring everybody. Okay, so and hopefully I don't look nearly as seedy as he looks. Okay,
No.
Okay, well, okay, all kinds of great things. By the way, yes, I did confirm that Vladimir Putin did have an assassination attempt on him. Okay, even though the media was saying no, that's all a lot of hype, a whole lot of nonsense.
Right.
No, and it appears now that over 100 cities in the former workers' paradise of the Soviet Union, yes, they are erupting with resistance, and it looks like there's going to be possibly another civil war, or at least a whole lot of disgruntled people, angry people. And it takes a lot for those people to get angry. Remember, it was the Russians who are used to standing in line for hours and hours to get one roll of toilet paper. All right. So, okay. And if they're upset about this, there's some big things going on. Okay. So yes. And then on top of everything else, President Trump decides that he's going after one of the biggest interfering powers that be on the earth, George Soros. Okay, so that is going to cause big events happening, at least in Central Europe and probably Eastern Europe. Okay, so that's what we have on our hands here. And then I'm just hearing about, first of all, the Scalise shooting.
Right.
And yes, the Scalise shooting. Here's what I think is behind it. He has been one of the biggest opponents and investigators of this the massive pedophile rings,
right,
that our politicians can't seem to do anything about, because they're all deeply involved. All right. Yes, we have President Trump, okay, who used to hang out on a place called, what is it, St. James Island, Orgy Island.
Orgy,
all right. Yeah, and I have from good sources that he got a little rough. This is our president right now, the guy talking about all of this, and guy who's saying what a good job this representative, Congressman Scalise, I believe he's a congressman. Okay, how he shouldn't be, no one should be involved in pedophile in politics. And here's Trump saying this. Okay, supposedly after he beat a young girl to death, okay, after raping her, 13 years old, actually, is the way I understand it. And then we've got Hillary Clinton, who's right up to her eyeballs in white slavery, black slavery, slavery of all kinds, shipping people all over the world, trying to get them into the U.S.
Before you change the subject, I have to say this for Kathy O'Brien. Kathy O'Brien states that Elder George Bush raped her 13-year-old daughter right in front of her, and that she was forced to have oral sex with Illuminati witch Hillary Clinton. That's a quote from her.
Okay, good. All right. I think that we ought to pull Hillary Clinton in, and we ought to call in Dick Cheney. Don't forget Dick Cheney in all of this. And we ought to pull in Trump, and we ought to pull in Elizabeth Roberts from Paradise Island or whatever it's called, and we ought to call in was it Prince Philip, okay, from the UK, and a few other luminaries, and Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
Let's not forget Jeffrey Epstein, who owns this Orgy Island. Okay, I bet you're wondering how I heard about Orgy Island, right? Well, I had somebody named General Janice Karpinski, okay, who obviously Janice is a good friend of mine, and she has backed me up enormously, and she's going to back with me, okay, in the Supreme Court on everything that I've said as being true. And
Good.
that includes the massive industrial torture that we've implemented around the world, what we implemented at Abu Ghraib. She's going to back me up on that issue with the Supreme Court, but also she informed me about Orgy Island. She had been sailing by on a boat with her sister, and they said, yes, the locals know all about Orgy Island, and said, this is what goes on there. Never introduce your 13-year-old daughter to Mr. Epstein, because it's a good bet that that's the last time you'll see her, at least in the same condition as when she left. All right, so we have that situation about to happen, and then on top of everything else, Mueller, okay, Robert Mueller.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see that. I think President Trump is listening to me. Okay, I don't. With that in mind, all right, what can we say? It's like the pot calling the kettle black, certainly. Okay, but Mueller is the attack dog and the lapdog of the Bush family. Oh, where have we heard that before? Okay, well, yes. Thanks to you, Luca. You know that story, and you know it to be true. And also, the issue with Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney. Does the name? Let me see. What is her name? Jean Palfrey. Does anybody know that? Jean Palfrey. Okay. The D.C. Madam. Ring a bell with any of your listeners? Well, I was good friends with the D.C. Madam, and I mean good friends. And it is surprising, one of the last dinners that she had, she came out to California, and we all got together in a little place called Valley Ford, and I was able to hear some really amazing stories about who her clients are, all right? And you cannot imagine who her clients are, including Mr. Cheney. Want to hear some juicy stories about Mr. Cheney? I mean, those stories will curl your toes about what he has done to women and what he had done to Jean Palfrey's group. Okay, her employees. We'll call them her employees, her escorts. It'll curl anybody that's a normal person. It'll curl their toes. All right. They don't call him in those circles in Washington. They don't call him the shitter for nothing. Yes, that Dick Cheney. All right. So there's lots and lots of information about how these people are kept in line, and how they, after a certain point, they gladly and enthusiastically get involved with doing very, very illegal, very bad things. And from what I'm hearing is that, according to Mr. Scalise, if this comes out, any of this comes out, we'll lose most of the people in Washington.
Exactly.
So they can learn how to make license plates and make furniture. All right. So that's what we have going on right now.
But Greg, isn't it kind of like the monetary system with the BIS? I mean, they're so big, they have so much immunity, they can't be touched. I mean, any judge or any court in this country takes their orders from the government, right? So that makes them automatically untouchable, doesn't it?
Yes. Okay. Now, if we have Robert Mueller dragging these people in, okay, to ascertain whether an quote obstruction of justice has happened, what does that mean? What does that means? I think everybody that is mature enough to know and has lived enough will know that testimony on any kind of issue concerning interference between two international countries like Russia and the United States. And imagine, by the way, that this just annoys me no end. Imagine the United States has never interfered in anyone else's elections.
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Okay. Just
Oops.
let's go back 6 weeks and ask the French what they think about that statement.
Mm.
Okay. So yes, we have some real issues going on here, and I think it's about time we had some real exposés on what is happening with this country. We have never been in such a disastrous situation like we are now. How did we get here? How did we get to this place right now? And and yes, Mueller is going to go after Donald Trump to make sure that he follows his orders, marching orders from the Bush family. All right, that's what's going to happen. But in the meantime, Donald Trump, he's been to Orgy Island. He's got the goods on everybody else, calling him names and saying that he should be removed and impeached.
Hmm.
Okay, we'll see how long this all happens. But in the meantime, what is this doing to our country and the election process and the faith that the American people have in their own government? I'd love to hear some input from people. What do they think this is doing? The only government that is basically of the people and by the people and for the people. Well, it doesn't look like that.
No.
It looks like we've been run by plutocracies, taken over by kleptocracies, and they are not going to give up this power. Just look at some of the recent laws that were passed under Obama.
Mm.
Boy, talk about
Yeah.
reinforcing the control that these kleptocrats have. Absolutely, this plutocracy just simply will not be threatened in any way, shape, or form. Listening to what is the gal's name? Krogan, Kroken.
Crokin,
Yeah,
yes. Or Crokin,
yeah.
I'm not, Crokin, I believe.
I believe her. I believe her when she's talking about now certain lawyers now are disappearing. Okay, the was it several three in her home state have now just disappeared that had direct connections to this case of Seth Rich. They've disappeared. They've died. Okay, as far as we know, they've died. Seth Rich. Look at what is resulting from the Seth Rich murder.
Well, Greg, this is a good chance to give your life. I mean, I'm going to say this live. I've said it before, but I've never said it in front of so many people. I would have given my life a long time ago for the Indian nations of this country and this continent if it would have made a difference. But it obviously, I guess, Creator has different plans for me, and if it means losing your life just because you spoke the truth, well, we will be remembered by the tracks we leave behind, right? So that doesn't bother me one bit.
Now, I just heard on CNN that 8,000 soldiers are going back to Afghanistan, or as we say in the intelligence trades, Pipelanistan. All
Right.
right, they're headed
In,
back.
in 10 minutes or less, Greg.
Okay, in 10 minutes or less. They're headed back to Pipelanistan. Okay, what does that mean? How many years has it been? 14 years now. We have been in Afghanistan, and they still can't figure out, and no one can figure out what is going on in that place, that poor benighted country. All right, I think we need to have some answers about why 8,000 more people are headed back
Mm-hmm.
to Afghanistan.
Drugs.
And I just heard something that affects me directly. When I came back from Iraq, I demanded that an inspector general investigation be implemented immediately, ASAP, stat. All right, as they say in the medical trades, stat into Abu Ghraib prison and what was going on in Iraq. Well, it turns out that Mr. Joe Schmitz, who I've mentioned to your audience before, Joe Schmitz, the childhood best friend and best buddy of George W. Bush, had been appointed by George W. Bush to head up the Department of Defense Inspector General's office.
Right.
Okay, well, Joe Schmitz, who is the son of Joseph Senator Joseph Schmitz, all right, California. He is the person who was accused of trying to sever his son's penis, all right, his baby boy's penis. Uh, Joe Schmidt's sister is Mary Kay Letourneau. That Mary Kay Letourneau who couldn't keep from sleeping with her one of her students in elementary school. She was an elementary teacher, but she was still sleeping with him. Everybody knows Mary Kay Letourneau. Well, Joe Schmitz was in charge of the inspector general. That's a good pedigree for that job, right? Well, I couldn't figure out when I filed these massive charges against the government for industrialized torture. Guess who was in charge of the investigation? Joe Schmitz. And I couldn't figure out why nothing was being done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just a whole lot of nothing was happening. And yes, until Chuck Grassley, Senator Grassley from Iowa, oh my goodness, all right, that Grassley from your home state shows up, and now things are going to start happening. You know, believe me, Mr. Trump, you are in trouble if Mr. Grassley starts looking at you. Oh, who cares if Mueller looks at you, all right? But Chuck Grassley will get something done. And if there is a lot of dirt to be excavated in this case, Mr. Grassley is going to do it. He's known by me as being honest and tough. So you've got a real problem now, Mr. Trump. So anyway, that's what I see is going on right now, and things are going to happen a lot sooner and a lot faster than what we're anticipating.
Yeah,
and especially now that George Soros has offered to step in and give his 2 cents in the case of Mr. Trump. We are probably going to see, for the first time in our lifetime, a real impeachment. A real impeachment. You know, not a make-believe one like Bill had and Hillary had. No, what a joke. Oh, cut it out. All right. No, he wasn't impeached because he had dirt about little boys, little girls, Great Danes, who knows what, on everyone. All right. That's why he wasn't impeached. But we have a different story now, a different issue. Okay, so we have some very interesting days in front of us, and it's going to change from day to day.
Exactly.
So I'll be more than glad to come on your show when you want me to, Luca, and put this out. All right.
We'll see you Monday.
Boy, I can't wait. Okay. So and thank you, listeners, too. Okay, because it takes a massive amount of patience to deal with what we're seeing. Remember, I lived through the Watergate issues and the Watergate affair. Okay, and that actually is smaller than what I see that is going to happen now. So we've got new wars happening. Okay, we've got our politicians being shot down on baseball diamonds, and we've got a president that nobody views as being viable anymore as a result of all of this. And we've got an investigation into the other candidates that were involved happening now. So anyway, thank you for letting me be on your show to talk about this.
Thank you, Greg.
And I'm looking forward to Monday.
This is not my show. This is our show. We're both co-hosts on this one. This is as much yours. This is actually more your show than it is mine, and it's my honor to have you on. So
thanks so much, Luca.
Gonna hurry up and edit this and get it out there.
Okay.
Hey, pussy.
Me and my cat. Okay.
And your cat. You have a good day.
Okay. All right. Take care. We'll be talking. Thank you, Luca.